Oops. Greetings. It may be winter outside, but if you look at my shirt, it's nice and toasty here. Back to the tropics. I read the newspaper and listen to the radio once in a while, and there's been some to-do about this woman or this girl from Georgia who had a liaison with a local doctor. I was curious. So I looked into some laws, and the variation between adult and a minor is kind of all over the place. And you can see some of these numbers here that I found. And the age of sexual consent in South Dakota is 16. But you better really be careful about that, because if you get this number wrong, you go to jail. So I also did some research into other laws, and this one here is quite the piece of entertainment. It's, we need laws, but we need laws that are written better than this one. Read the second chapter, second bullet there. Sexual exploitation of a minor. If you allow your minor to engage in any activity with nudity involved, you're exploiting that child sexually. So how do you give anybody a bath? I mean, this is the law. I'm not making this up. I wouldn't make up anything so bizarre. Similarly, teenage sex at 17 is legal, but according to this law, if you do it naked, you're exploiting that minor, even if you are that minor. And, some laws are pretty crazy. Also, in the same law, kids should not be allowed to play. Again, I don't make this stuff up. It's too crazy. If you allow your minor to engage in a stimulation of an activity that is harmful to minors, that is, again, sexual exploitation. So what kids don't play, like football or acting and banging into each other? That's all illegal sexual exploitation. Obviously, this law needs rewritten. And teenage sexting is rather popular these days. Take a fun picture of yourself and send it off to your friend. Turns out that this is child pornography. Popular activity, nasty consequences. Still in the same law, if your minor friend fibs a little bit and tells you that they're 16 instead of 15, and two, you get along together, you better watch out, because that person's dishonesty can get you in jail. In this particular court case, we have a rather sexist stereotype at work. It's a big bad guy wolf and the cute little girl. The stereotype is a little more obvious a little later on. In romance, hey, you've got some money, you've got some intimacy. Prostitution, thoroughly illegal, but when it's illegal, it goes underground and gets more dangerous. Human trafficking, that's also illegal. Oh, and the sugar daddy idea, and it's a very important concept in this case. Having fun with an older person and some gifts to go along with it. Now, what actually happened is two people met on the sugar daddy website with obvious repercussions, and they had a good time for a little while. Things were good for a bit, but then she was worried about him and called the police. Both parties went to jail. Not exactly what you want to happen when you call the police. Check out this rack of charges against the older man who had a seemingly legal relationship with a young woman. Quite a rack of charges. It's really quite amazing. And if you read the law, none of this appears to be justified. And in court cases, I've noticed sensationalized prostitution. That seems to be the primary driver for this problem. And double jeopardy, how many times over is that here? And we've got a rather large prison population, partially as a consequence. Now, I would like to bring my little observations to the awareness of the court, but I don't know if that's possible or even how to do it, because if I write a letter to the DA, he's going to blow me off like he's done before. And withholding evidence from defense is supposedly illegal, but how do I supersede the bias built into our government? And since I'm out of time, I would like to give you a picture of our beautiful town and say, Good evening, everybody.